Imagine walking into one of the oldest, most respected art galleries in New York City, a place that's been around since before the Civil War. You see a painting on the wall, a stunning, never-before-seen masterpiece by Mark Rothko or Jackson Pollock. The gallery director tells you it's from a secret, anonymous collection. You're a seasoned collector, you trust the gallery's impeccable reputation, and you buy it for millions of dollars. You proudly hang it in your home, a treasure of modern art. Then, years later, you get a call. The painting isn't just a masterpiece, it's a masterpiece of deception. It's a complete fake, painted in a garage in Queens by a Chinese immigrant who had no idea what he was even painting. This isn't a movie plot. This is the unbelievable true story of the Knoedler Gallery, a scandal that sent shockwaves through the art world and exposed the dark underbelly of a market built on trust, prestige, and secrecy. For over 165 years, Knoedler & Company was a titan of the art world. It sold works to industrialist Henry Clay Frick, the Rockefellers, and even the Louvre. It was the epitome of class and authenticity. But for 15 years, from 1994 to 2009, this venerable institution became the center of one of the largest art fraud schemes in history. How did it happen? How did a gallery with a sterling reputation sell over $60 million worth of forgeries to some of the world's most sophisticated buyers? The story begins with a woman named Glafira Rosales. She walked into the Knoedler Gallery in the mid-90s with a fascinating tale. She claimed to be representing a mysterious, anonymous collector, a Mr. X, who had inherited a massive, previously unknown trove of abstract expressionist masterpieces. These weren't just any paintings. They were supposedly lost works by the giants of the movement: Willem D. Kooning, Robert Motherwell, Jackson Pollock, and Mark Rothko. For the art world, this was like discovering a lost Shakespearean play or an unreleased Beatles album. It was a goldmine. The gallery's president, a highly respected figure named Ann Freedman, was captivated. She saw these works as her legacy, a discovery that would cement her place in art history. The story Rosales told was elaborate and just plausible enough. Mr. X's father had supposedly acquired these paintings directly from the artists in the 1950s, thanks to a secret affair with an art dealer. Now, his son, wanting to remain anonymous, was slowly selling them off. The paintings themselves looked good, at least at first glance. They captured the spirit and style of the masters. Freedman began selling them to her top clients, attaching the Knoedler name and its guarantee of authenticity to each one. The money started pouring in. A Rothko sold for $8.3 million. A Pollock for $17 million. Collectors were thrilled to own these fresh-to-market treasures. But little red flags started popping up, like small tears in a perfectly woven story. For one, the provenance, the history of a painting's ownership, was non-existent beyond Rosales's story. In the art world, provenance is everything. It's the chain of evidence that proves a work is genuine. Here, there was only the word of a single, mysterious source. Art experts and conservators who examined the paintings also found troubling inconsistencies. Some pigments used in the paintings weren't commercially available until years after the artists had died. Forensic analysis on one painting found a microscopic signature that looked suspiciously like it was traced. On another, an expert noted that the canvas was aged artificially, using tea bags or coffee to create a vintage look. When one collector sent his Pollock for testing, the lab found two different yellow paints. One was from the correct period, but the other was a modern pigment that Pollock could never have used. The evidence was mounting, but for a long time, the gallery and its buyers were blinded by the allure of the art and the power of the Knoedler name. The person at the heart of the sales, Ann Freedman, maintained that she, too, was a victim. She claimed to have fully believed in the paintings, even buying several for her own collection. She pointed to the fact that she had consulted with various experts, some of whom had given the works their cautious approval. However, critics argued that she ignored numerous warnings and was guilty of willful blindness. The desire to believe, and the massive profits being made, may have clouded her judgment. She was making a 40% commission on some sales, earning millions. Was she a brilliant dealer who got duped, or a complicit player in a massive fraud? That question would become central to the legal battles that followed. The whole house of cards came crashing down in 2011. The FBI got involved after a string of lawsuits from angry collectors who had discovered their multi-million-dollar masterpieces were worthless. The investigation led them not to a secret Swiss vault owned by Mr. X, but to a modest house in Queens, New York. There, they found the real artist, a 73-year-old Chinese painter named Pei-Shen Qian. Qian was a talented artist and mathematician who had immigrated to the U.S. and was struggling to make a living painting portraits on the street. Glafira Rosales' boyfriend, Jose Carlos Bergantios Diaz, had discovered Qian and hired him to create imitations or tributes to the great abstract expressionist masters. Qian was paid a few $1,000s for each canvas, a pittance compared to the millions they would later sell for. According to his lawyer, Qian had no idea his paintings were being sold as the real thing. He thought he was just doing a job, creating works in the style of famous artists. He would study the masters, buy old canvases from flea markets to make them look authentic, and then paint. He was the ghost in the machine, the unknown hand behind a $60 million fraud. When the scandal broke, Qian fled to China, never to face charges in the U.S. With the truth revealed, the fallout was catastrophic. The legendary Knoedler Gallery, after 165 years in business, shut its doors permanently in 2011 amidst a flood of lawsuits. Collectors who had spent fortunes were left with beautifully crafted fakes. The legal battles were intense. One of the most high-profile cases was brought by collectors Domenico and Eleanor D. Sol, who had paid $8.3 million for a fake Rothko. Their case went to trial, and the testimony was explosive. Ann Freedman took the stand, tearfully insisting on her innocence. But just before a verdict could be reached, the gallery's parent company settled out of court for an undisclosed, but undoubtedly massive sum. In total, the gallery and Freedman paid out tens of millions of dollars in settlements to cheated buyers. Glafira Rosales, the dealer who brought the fakes to Knoedler, pleaded guilty to fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. She was the only person to serve jail time for the scheme. Her boyfriend, Bergantios Diaz, and his brother were also charged but fled to Spain and fought extradition. The Knoedler scandal became a cautionary tale for the entire art market. It revealed a shocking level of negligence, greed, and willful ignorance at the highest levels of the industry. How could so many experts and experienced collectors be fooled for so long? The answer lies in the psychology of the art world itself. It's a market driven by passion, ego, and the thrill of discovery. The story of a secret collection was intoxicating. Ann Freedman wanted to believe she had found the score of a lifetime. The collectors wanted to believe they were acquiring a piece of history. This collective desire to believe created a blind spot that a team of con artists exploited perfectly. The scandal forced a painful reckoning, highlighting the urgent need for more rigorous scientific analysis and due diligence. It proved that even the most prestigious name and a beautiful story are no substitute for cold, hard facts. The Knoedler Gallery may be gone, but its ghost haunts the art world, a constant reminder that if something seems too good to be true, it almost certainly is. Thank you so much for watching. This story is a fascinating look into a world of high stakes, big money, and even bigger deception. What do you think? Was Ann Freedman a victim or a villain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into the art world's greatest scandals, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.